Man arranges rows of rice to prepare for a rare natural phenomenon. As children, most of us were taught that kindness and compassion are the two best qualities a person can possess. These values are perhaps most important when we give our attention to the animals we care about. No matter who you are or where you come from, there truly is no greater joy than showing love to animals in need. For Joseph Sekar, known as the Birdman of Chennai, a single selfless act of kindness would ultimately change his fate and the fate of thousands of animals after a tropical storm left an unexpected surprise on his doorstep. You may have heard stories of people devoting their lives to animals before, but this guy takes it to a whole new level. When Joseph Sekar moved his family to Chennai, India in the early 1990s, his intentions were clear-cut: start a business, make a living, and provide for himself and his loved ones. Unsure of where to begin, he looked to his personal passions for the answer. A lover of photography from a young age, Sekar quickly found his footing as a camera repairman and soon opened his own shop in the city of Royapeta. Though cameras were his passion, Sekar also made time to care for the local wildlife and could often be found feeding the squirrels and sparrows of the area. But little did he know that these small acts of kindness would soon change his life. On one fateful day following India's 2004 tsunami, a pair of ring-necked parakeets appeared on Sekar's doorsteps. Seeing the poor shape they were in, Sekar decided to feed them as well. The parakeets returned the next day, only this time they brought friends. The two parakeets became 10, those 10 became 20, and 20 became 100. Pretty soon, thousands of these parakeets began descending on Sekar's modest shanty in search of a meal, and big-hearted Sekar was more than happy to oblige. 14 years later, Sekar's still at it, feeding between 4,000 and 6,000 parakeets every single day. As you can imagine, feeding a flock of birds this large is no small task. Every morning, Sekar sets his alarm for 4:30 a.m. to begin preparing pots of rice for his birds' 6 a.m. arrival. Small birds, small appetite, right? Don't bet on it. On an average day, Sekar cooks nearly 60 kilograms, that's 130 pounds, of rice for his birds. A morning meal fit for a king. But the work doesn't end there. The 62-year-old Sekar then lugs the rice to the rooftop, where a dozen wooden planks serve as a buffet table for his feathered friends. With a skilled hand, Sekar places hundreds of piles of rice for the coming feast. Buying enough rice to feed the birds is a significant expense for Sekar, accounting for almost half of his yearly salary. For a man making roughly $13 an hour, it's clear that these birds mean the world to him, and the lengths he'll go to protect them are just as incredible. While Sekar purchases most of the rice himself, he also receives donations from time to time from people who admire his mission. Always wary of what he feeds his birds, Sekar makes sure to eat the first handful of rice himself in order to see if it's safe. The health of the birds is so important, in fact, that Sekar actively shelters and nurses injured parakeets back to health, and has even gone as far as discouraging buses from honking outside his shop to avoid frightening the birds. "I feel responsible for them," Sekar said. "I remember how during the cyclone, I fed them non-stop in the rain with a raincoat on." Sekar's story is spread far and wide, earning him the renown as the Birdman of Chennai. Even his neighbors can't help but marvel at the scene that unfolds outside their window every day. Watching Sekar feed parrots is a majestic thing and a spectacular sight, a neighbor said of the daily ritual. Many people pass this way and stand and watch for a long time, but the crowds may not continue for much longer. According to Sekar, he's been given eviction orders from his landlords, who are looking to demolish the entire lot. While this poses serious consequences for Sekar and his family, it may mean an even worse fate for his birds. "They'll suffer initially, like a newcomer in a city, lost without direction," lamented Sekar. "I don't want to put them through it." While Sekar's landlords are open to selling the property to someone interested in preserving the birds, Sekar's come up with a plan of his own. With the funds from selling his lifelong collection of 4,500 vintage cameras, he hopes to raise enough money to buy the plot himself. "I'm willing to let go of my cameras for the sake of my birds," Sekar said proudly. "After all, what's more important than love?"